PHLY, Eagles podcast, talking football, Jaguars. Coming up next. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the PHLY Eagles podcast presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app and use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Welcome to the show. Bo Wulf, Fran Duffy, Zach Berman. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Good to see you. I think we need some energy on the show. It's great to be here on a Thursday show of the PHLY Eagles show.
Yeah, I'm sure Bet365 is thrilled with that ad read to start things off.
It's football, man. How you guys doing?
I'm doing great. Happy Halloween to you, Arthur. It's great to have you in the studio.
Yeah, we should explain what's going on here. You're Arthur Smith for Halloween.
No, this is just me.
Yeah, you usually don't have to try that hard.
Okay.
I'm a little bit worried that I showed up today with a mustache and you guys didn't say anything.
I mean, I knew there was something going on.
I figured you were trying something new. It's a good look. I saw you got a haircut yesterday.
Don't patronize me.
I'm not patronizing you. I said yesterday in the media house, I like your haircut. Did I not?
I said it to you as soon as you walked out of the car today.
Yes.
But that doesn't. Okay.
So
I want friends who would be like, "What are you doing when you show up with a mustache?"
Well, tomorrow is November starts tomorrow.
Yes.
You've done the Movember thing in the past.
Yeah.
So I thought you were just getting a
I would
jump.
never go true mustache.
Well,
For me, I'm not saying for all people mustaches are a bad look. For me, I mean, I look ridiculous.
That's subjective. I think you look very nice.
All right, let's get into. I'll tell you a little bit more about the story of this costume in a little bit, but
Can't wait.
We'll save that for later. We got Swooper Soarcasting to get to, but before that, we got to talk about this matchup. Before we do that, though, before Zach, what's going on with the Eagles? What's the latest?
Yeah, so yesterday was an interesting day from a practice participation perspective. The Eagles had some high-profile players who were absent. Now, I should preface this by saying a Wednesday practice session, players being out, isn't necessarily the end of the world. It's not often an indication of their status for Sunday's game, but it is notable. Jalen Carter was absent with a shoulder injury. Landon Dickerson absent with a knee injury. Darius Slay absent with a groin injury. Dallas Goedert remains out with a hamstring injury. Good news on the injury front. Mekhi Becton showing progress. He was practicing on a limited basis. My expectation is that he's out of the concussion protocol probably by today and will be at right guard on Sunday. If you were wondering whether Becton would be replaced by Steen, I know there was some question about that. During practice, Becton was with the first teamers at right guard. So that is where he's going to be. But as far as those guys who were absent, I'd pay the closest attention to Slay. Outside of Goddard, of course, no. It'll be 3 weeks for Goddard if he misses this game. So you would expect him to be back next week. Otherwise, they probably would have put him on IR. But Slay, he had the MRI earlier this week. We saw him leave the game. We didn't see Carter or Dickerson leave the game there. So although the reserve players went in at the end on the offensive line. But if Slay doesn't play, you will see Isaiah Rodgers getting his first start of the season.
Carter could just be all the snaps.
Excuse me? I literally didn't hear you.
All the snaps.
It'll be
Plays a lot of snaps.
plays a lot of snaps. Yes. Now he's not down for rest. He's down for shoulder but he is shouldering a big load. So
That's exactly right.
Nice.
yes.
He's been carrying the defense.
He missed a day last week too. Am I misremembering
Yes.
that?
Yeah. Now that was actually that was not Wednesday. He missed Thursday.
Right.
And then he was back for Friday.
Okay.
Dickerson is absolutely the new Jason Peters, where he gets banged up every single game.
Yeah, there was a reporter who I was watching practice with who was saying, I'm just going to put rest day for Dickerson. I'm like, I don't think it's a rest day, but there are injuries that need rest.
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, I'm a little worried about this. One of the big stories this week was on Tuesday, starting quarterback Jalen Hurts, starting running back Saquon Barkley, team owner Trevor Lawrence, or golfing at Marion with former President Barack Obama. Although I think it's always President Barack Obama, right?
So.
Yeah. So President Barack Obama, Jeffrey
first
Lurie.
round pick.
What's that?
It's like first round pick.
Yes,
You don't
exactly.
say former first round pick.
So I saw in published reports it was saying former president. And so I put former president in my tweet in the article that will be coming out. But then I was thinking, I would just put president. You're always the president, right? Even if you're not the serving president. Nonetheless.
It's like author Zach Berman.
I wouldn't. I'm not at that stage.
I don't know if impeachment changes that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Sure. So anyways, it was good catching up with both of them. It was a bucket list item for Saquon and for Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts literally said in a Time magazine article last year that if he was asked who his dinner guest would be at the ideal dinner, and President Obama was one of them. So he got the chance to be in the round of golf. Now he did not play. He's forbidden in his contract to play golf. So he told Obama that
It's kind of weird.
What?
Maybe in season.
No, he said this over the summer. He can't play.
He can't play at all.
He can't play. He says it's a funny story that he'll tell us at another time, but the time's still not right to tell us.
Okay.
But he's not allowed to play, he says. So he said they were talking trash. He said his day will come where he gets to beat President Obama in golf. Saquon Barkley.
I've seen Jalen swing it. It's not good.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well, that's probably why it's forbidden. They don't want the oblique injury or something, right?
Yeah.
With Saquon, who's an avid golfer, he was real nervous. He didn't know how to, he didn't know what his pickup line would be, if you will. He didn't know the first thing he would say, and he said President Obama lightened the move, Saquon, similar to what Vinny says on the show, right? And they spoke about
It's a guy's first name.
no, but he screamed it out, it's not like, hey Saquon, nice to see you. It was like Saquon, right? So
We watch for the show.
yeah,
Could be.
yeah, maybe.
He must be.
Yeah. And they spoke about leadership. Saquon had some questions for him. Saquon talked trash when President Obama was leading. Saquon said, "Let's see if you can close." And then he made a reference to the way he won 2 elections, right? That he's a good closer in that regard. So that was something that Saquon passed on. Saquon said what really kind of resonated with him was the way President Obama treated everyone at the course. He said whether it was caddies, people stopping to take pictures, looked them in the eye, asked them their name. He said you can really learn a lot about someone based on the way they treat people, and that's what resonated with Saquon about President Obama. The genesis of this was last week at practice. Jeffrey Lurie and Dom DeSandro asked Saquon if he wanted to participate in this. And he was like, who would say no to this, right? And so it was a real cool bucket list item for him. And I'm kind of envious.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's very
cool. We did an episode last year, the famous Freddie Mercury episode, where Bo asked who my dream dinner guest would be. And I put President Obama on that as well. So the only time I've ever been to Marion was covering the U.S. Open. So I don't know how to get in there, but I would have loved to be company there as well.
I don't know if I should say what I think about this.
You've been conspicuously quiet.
I think we should maybe save it for later.
Later the show.
Okay.
Here's one thing I will say.
Yeah.
It doesn't bode well that Barack Obama's spending that much time with Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley, and he can't get either of them to endorse Kamala Harris the next day. Like, come on, Barack.
Yeah, so Saquon said, he didn't want to get political, so that was kind of Saquon's position there, and he'll have his opportunity on Tuesday to exercise his right to vote.
Kamala's in town Monday, I believe, giving her closing speech in Center City, so maybe they'll make their appearance there.
Maybe. Let's talk about football.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Jaguars offense.
Okay. Very easy transition.
I can't. We're gonna go. We're gonna go so far off the rails. We're gonna get totally stuck. We got to at least save it for after Swooper. That's what's most important. Now, see, I think this is good proof of concept. I don't look like Arthur Smith. I'm trying as hard as I can right now to look like Arthur Smith, and I don't look like Arthur Smith.
The harder you try, the less you look like him.
Okay, maybe there's something there. Okay. Jaguars offense, Fran.
Okay.
Coming to this game. Now, they're very injured.
Yes.
Probably their best player.
Very injured.
Brian Thomas, the rookie first-round pick, is up in the air. It seemed early in the week he was not going to play, but seems like there's a chance he's going to play.
Yeah, Jeremy Fowler put out a report saying 2 to 4 weeks, the early report, but then Doug Pederson and Brian Thomas Jr. and even the word from like the local beat writers on the scene has been that it'd be more day-to-day and that he was limited on Wednesday for their practice on Wednesday down there. And so it seems like he might be like 50-50 to play, Brian Thomas.
Now, I've been meaning to ask you this. Brian Thomas Jr.
It's not Thomas Bryan Jr.
Is he the son of former Eagles employee Brian Thomas, BT?
No, he's not. He's not I mean, he is.
He used to call games with BT back in high school.
Well, he would. He was behind the scenes.
Okay.
But he is.
What a non-air flex that was.
He's Brian Thomas.
That was a pretty big.
He is Brian Thomas Sr.
shovel.
I want Joya to know. I consider everyone part of the.
I want to correct.
I'm joking.
To make sure.
Okay. Yes.
Are you sure it's not his son?
I'm
I'm
sure
positive
it's not his son.
son.
Yes, if he was born in Philadelphia, I think we know Zach would know that.
Well, I mean, the other Brian Thomas doesn't have to. I mean, he doesn't have to have been there.
Okay, sure.
Just saying. Okay. He has been awesome.
Yes.
6th in the league in receiving, 33 catches for 573 yards. He's 5th in yards per route run. And this offense overall, 14th in DVOA and success rate. It's kind of like, by the numbers at least, and you tell me if it looks like this.
Yep.
The bizarro Bog offense from we've got Doug Pederson and Press Taylor, but this offense 21st in EPA per dropback, but they've ran the ball well, 7th in EPA per rush. And the one thing that they have done well is they have hit a lot of big plays.
Yep.
They rank towards the top of the league in big play percentage.
Yeah, it's an extremely vertical offense. A lot of play action, a lot of opportunities where Trevor Lawrence is going to push the ball vertically down the field, and often those targets have gone to Brian Thomas Jr., and he's been excellent on those plays. I mean, if you look at like the completion percentage over expected when targeting Brian Thomas, it has been through the roof for the rookie. He leads pretty much every receiving metric for first-year receivers this year. I mean, he's been outstanding. And so if he is not in the lineup, that really kind of changes the identity of this entire thing, because he has really been the engine that makes that go. And so what we've seen over the course of this season too is that when they came out early, it was a very kind of like a limited route tree for Brian Thomas Jr. Everything was straight line, linear, down the field, deep crossers. And then over the course of the last couple of weeks, we're starting to see him slide more into the slot. His route running has gotten better. So Brian Thomas Jr., if he plays, certainly a guy that, all right, yeah, you have to earmark him. You can make the case. Yeah, he's been their best player on offense this year.
And it's been an offense that has not been as it was designed, right? They haven't really had their group together all year. If you look at it, Evan Engram was a 114 catch tight end last year. He was missing early in the season. It was designed to have Christian Kirk, Gabe Davis, Obviously, Brian Thomas, Evan Engram, and then Travis Etienne. Not Trevor. I called him Trevor. That's his brother on the show the other day. Etienne's been down. Tank Bigsby has taken a bigger role. But there was like optimism going into the season about these skill positions, and they haven't had their group, and they won't have their group now the rest of the year.
No, and you mentioned Evan Engram. I mean, he's been their leading receiver from a like receptions per game standpoint, but he missed weeks 2 through 5 when he had that IR stint. So he will. I mean, he's going to be the focal point if Brian Thomas Jr. can't go, and even if Brian Thomas Jr. does go, I still think Evan Engram is going to be a big part of this offensive attack. They use him up and down the field. We think of him with the New York Giants. Everything was like vertical down the seam, and they've done a good job there in Jacksonville of kind of getting him on the move and just finding ways to get him the ball in space, and that's where his athleticism has really shown up. But this team lost Christian Kirk to injury, broke his collarbone. It was a deep seam route down the field from Trevor Lawrence. It was a nicely thrown ball, and he just landed awkwardly on it, and so he's out for the year. I mean, this passing game is in dire straits at this point because the offensive line has not been particularly great either.
What have you thought about the way the Eagles have covered tight ends this season?
It's been good. I mean, especially the last few weeks, it's been excellent. Just because everything has been excellent with the offense or with the defense over the last couple of weeks. Who has been the matchup guy has kind of changed depending on the look, especially with how often they're doing. All right, we're going to blitz a linebacker and drop out a defensive end. So sometimes you'll see like a Nolan Smith match up on a tight end. We've seen C.J. Gardner-Johnson match up on tight ends, and so
Gesicki, Pete Blankenship a couple times.
Yeah, exactly. So that all comes down to like how they're going to line up formationally. If it's going to be man-to-man coverage, then I feel like it's typically been C.J. Gardner-Johnson. But if they're in some kind of a zone look, typically the team is going to put the guy to the tight end of the boundary, and that's where you see the Reed Blankenship matchup show up at times. And I know that's something that Dane has been following in terms of the alignment of the safeties to the field and to the boundary. And so, I think when you look at overall matchups, that's certainly one to watch. You want to make sure that Evan Engram is the guy you account for.
So if you are Shad Khan and you're looking at why this passing game is underperforming, 21st in EPA per dropback, are you putting it on Doug and Press Taylor? Are you putting it on the personnel and Trent Baalke? Or are you putting it directly on Trevor Lawrence as the quarterback?
I think
Spread your turkeys.
Yeah, I would say if we're going to do the turkeys, I would say...
Or just rank them.
Yeah. I would say probably 40 turkeys on the scheme.
Okay.
35 turkeys on Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, interesting.
And maybe, was that 25?
Yeah, you're letting
25
Baalke off the hook.
Well, I mean,
on defense,
really
that might not be the case.
I mean, look, because Brian Thomas Jr. was the first-round pick this year, and he's been awesome. I think Christian Kirk, there probably, honestly, could be a book written about Christian Kirk's signing with Jacksonville and the dominoes that have happened since that point, because that's what started the escalation of the wide receiver market. He gets paid that money, and then every receiver under the sun's like, oh, if he's getting that, like,
Zach's getting dollar signs popping up in front of his face. He's got another book idea.
But I think
I don't know if that one would sell as once, but yeah. Christian Kirk on the cover, yeah.
But I think that when you look at those guys, I mean, Gabe Davis has been he's been terrible for them, and that was a big free agent signing for them. He has not been good, so they'll clearly be leaning on him more with these injuries at receiver. But
he's banged up too. Yeah,
he left last week with an injury. So I would say that's probably the way I would stack it. Trevor Lawrence has not played terrible. He hasn't played great. Obviously, they just paid him the big money, and he's one of the highest paid quarterbacks in football, and so that's kind of the standard that you're hoping for. But he has not met that. I will say, I mean, this is another offense though where it's a lot of high level of difficulty throws, a lot of throws out to the sideline, a lot of play action, rollout, like vertical throws down the field, and so. I can kind of see it both ways there, and I know that there was a lot of frustration early on. Doug Pederson, saying in press conferences, "Hey, say what you want about the scheme, but you can't make, you got to catch these passes or you got to make those throws." And so clearly there's some finger pointing down there in terms of whose fault it is. But I would say just watching it from afar, it's definitely a combination of all the above.
Meanwhile, the running game has been pretty successful. Why is that? And do we have any evidence to point to?
Yeah, I think when you look, so Travis Etienne was the starter coming in, and he has been, I would say, about what I expected coming out of Clemson.
He's a dumb pick.
He's got some dynamic qualities, certainly. He's got the lateral agility. He's got some juice in the open field. He's not great on third down. He's gotten better in that area as a receiver and as a blocker, but still not quite to what they were expecting, I think, coming out. But Tank Bigsby was a third-round pick a year ago, was basically a redshirt for him a year as a rookie. came in this year, and he is running with his hair on fire. I mean, the last few weeks, ETN has been banged up and has not played. And what we've seen from Bigsby is that he is forcing missed tackles at one of the highest rates in football right now. He's really tough to get to the ground. He's big, sturdy, he's decisive downhill. And I think that the way that they play offensively in terms of the play calls, I think really kind of cater to his skill set and really kind of help out that offensive line as well. Because when you look at that offensive line across the board, more pass protectors than run blockers. And so they really kind of have to manufacture things from a run blocking standpoint. And so I did have some clips for us to be able to show. And so there's three screen grabs we can take a look at here from a run scheme that has been really prevalent over the last couple of weeks in particular. And really it's a scheme that the Eagles ran with Doug Pederson, with Press Taylor often, and Jeff Stoutland will still use it to this day. It's the trap whams. It's a combination of two different plays here where you're basically trying to get offensive linemen up to the second level. You're creating some blocks and creating creases. It's a well-defined run for the running back to just get him going downhill. You think back, it was the game on the road in Green Bay, right?
Yes.
Where Jordan Howard had that big play down the left sideline.
Yes.
That is the play.
Thursday nighter. Yeah.
Yes, and so that's the exact play that we've seen from Bigsby, in this system, in this scheme. And actually, the clip that we'll look at, it was like the same part of the field, and the shots look very, very similar. And again, when you have an offensive line that aren't like the big physical maulers, you don't have that Landon Dickerson, that Jordan Mailata. The wham and traps, they can be advantageous because that's all about angles and kind of taking defensive linemen by surprise. And they did it 5, 6, 7 times last week against Green Bay. And it wouldn't shock me especially if the Eagles line up with a 4-down, 2 linebacker kind of look, if we start to see that kind of look kind of show up once again here in this game.
While Julia pulls that up, I just want to give a quick update because practice is going on as we speak. According to EJ Smith, our friend Jalen Carter and Landon Dickerson are both practicing today.
There we go.
Dallas Goedert and Darius Slay are not.
There we go.
Here we go. Good update.
All right. No, well, good. So we'll take a look at the first shot here. And again, this is from your basic kind of like 4-2 nickel kind of look. And the people that you want to take a look at are the tight end on the left-hand side of your screen. And our audio listeners, you just have to kind of follow along here. The tight end on the left-hand side and the left guard on that side as well. If we go to the next shot here, Julia, basically what you're going to see is those two players are going to block laterally and go almost like across the formation a little bit. And that's going to start to create a little bit of a crease there for the back. And so if we go to shot 2, let's see. I think this is still shot 1. If you go to, yep, all good. So yeah, there we go. So here's shot 2. So the tight end is coming to block that defensive tackle, and the guard is going across to block the defensive tackle on the other side. And so basically the idea here, you wouldn't think that, we're going to block, Evan Engram is going to block a defensive tackle one-on-one. But because he's coming almost like from his blind side, that defensive tackle, it's an unsuspecting block there. So you're basically trading, all right, we're going to take the tight end, block him effectively with the defensive tackle, the tight end. Then we get an offensive lineman up to the linebacker level. So, Julie, if you go to the third shot here, now that you see that crease is starting to develop there. And look at that alley for Tank Bigsby. And so you get him up to the second level with a head of steam. He gets up to the safety. At full speed, he's a tough guy to get to the ground. He's a 225, 230-pound running back. And again, he's been breaking those tackles at such a high rate that he's just a tough guy to get to the ground, especially on those schemes. And so for me, I think that would be something we could see from the Eagles. The change there for Fangio would be if they start to get into more of those odd fronts where you put, maybe Zach Bond down to the line of scrimmage. That makes the blocking schemes a little bit more difficult to call those traps and whams. So if they go to that early, that might be the adjustment, I think, from Fangio.
And you would imagine that if the Jaguars if Brian Thomas doesn't play, the Jaguars probably aren't going to be playing quite as much 11. That's maybe inviting Fangio to play more of those odd fronts. Yeah,
I think that my guess is if that Brian Thomas Jr. does not play, to your point, we'll see a lot of 12 personnel. And that would mean that the second-year tight end from Penn State, Brenton Strange, will get a lot of those reps. And he's kind of similar to Engram in terms of like a body type standpoint, better blocker, though. So both guys are kind of like the undersized mold, 6'3", 245 pounds. Engram, a much better pass catcher. Strange can catch the ball, but he's a really tenacious blocker as well. And so
way overdrafted.
Felt
it wasn't a big Brenton Strange guy.
Not a big Brenton Strange guy.
Yeah.
Man.
That was just my I didn't like that.
I see
pick.
Zach smiling over there, waiting to see what joke has popped into his head.
No, it's
He
not a
just
joke.
wants to
I was
throw a
looking
guy
at
off a
it.
building. I mean,
Throwing the guy off.
He must have met Dan Morgan at some
I was
point.
going to say Dan Morgan's cousin.
No, I actually don't think Trent Baalke's done a particularly good job there. But you can go on. Yeah.
Is it Zach? Is it Brenton Strange or Strange Brenton?
That's a strange question. It is. It is definitely Brenton Strange. I actually liked his.
Zach, no interest in getting some Strange.
I liked his successor at Penn State more than him, and that's Theo Johnson.
Theo Johnson. But no, I think that when you look at those guys, I would expect that we'll see more true tight ends from the Jaguars in this game. How the Eagles match to 12. Look, last week the Cincinnati Bengals came out and they played a lot of 12 personnel, and the Eagles felt very confident leaving Cooper DeJean and that nickel package on the field, and we saw less base defense, a lot less Jordan Davis than I would have expected. And so here in this one, I would expect that they would treat Jacksonville's 12 personnel more like 11 personnel. Evan Engram more as a big receiver as opposed to a true tight end.
All right. Good stuff from Fran. Adding the screen grabs to the mix. A nice addition to the Thursday breakdown. We've got more coming up after this word from our sponsors. Bet365 has 90 million users worldwide, and they live stream over 780,000 events each year, including all of my Steelers games. Today, Bet365 offers the widest range of games and markets available for live in-game betting across 78 sports if you want to get bored to death by my offense. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Use the code PHLY365 when you sign up. Deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 and get $200 in bonus bets. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. It's that time of the week in which Fran is about to just give away who's going to win the game tonight. Fran, what do you got?
You can't pick the Jets. It's the Texans. It's C.J. Stroud.
Okay.
Interesting. Even without Diggs. Okay. And
Yeah.
Collins. Yeah.
You disagree?
Jets are favored by two. I thought.
Yeah.
So.
The
Jets are favored by 2?
Yes, which is alarming.
The
but
Texans
I
are throwing
just
the ball
can't.
tonight to Robert Woods, John Mechie, and Xavier Hutchinson. So we'll see how that goes. They're going to need a big Joe Mixon game. That's been happening recently.
There you go. If you disagree or if you agree, Bet365 has you covered. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary. At Bet365, must be 21 or older and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
That mustache, it's very scary. It's a scary day with it being
just
Halloween. You know what else can be scary? Shopping for floors. But you know why it doesn't have to be scary? You know our friends over at Empire Today. With Empire Today, you get shop-at-home convenience, the right product for your needs, quick and professional installation, and a price match guarantee. Empire Today is the best place to go to get new flooring. So, of course, they've got copycats, but they cannot beat Empire Today on quality, service, or speed. And so they advertise low-quality products that they simply won't carry at Empire Today. They promise the lowest prices because anyone who does that is putting flooring in your home that they wouldn't put in theirs. When you talk about Empire Today, they keep shopping for floors simple with a curated product selection. How curated are we talking about here? Well, the team at Empire will go through thousands of product samples around the world each year. They don't let just any floor sample make it into their selection. No. They come through with those bad boys and only let the best of the best in the door. So when what they leave out of their selection, that is just as important as what they leave in. And they do all of that to make sure that you can pick from the very best selection possible. My favorite feature that Empire provides is the virtual floor designer. It's a great way to see how your new floors will look in any space. It's very easy. You just take a picture and instantly see how your new floors will look in your room. So don't do it. Don't fall for the trap. Don't go shopping for floors at some big box store. You walk down to the floor section at aisle 37 and talk to somebody today who was working in the lamp aisle earlier that day or stacking PVC pipe the day before. No, save yourself the hassle. Flooring is all that Empire Today does. They live and breathe flooring, and they pride themselves on their convenient shop-at-home service. They help you shop for floors where you use your floors so that you can see exactly what those new floors will look like in your home. Schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners can receive a $350 off discount when they use the promo code PHLY. Restrictions apply. See EmpireToday.com/PHLY for details.
Zach, I was thinking about Goddard. What is the time period for Albert O? When do they have to make a decision?
So Albert O would be next week. They need to make a decision by
Do they do Monday again?
Yep.
Okay. What do you think they're going to do? You going to activate him?
I would imagine there's a reason why they use the designation to return. We already saw it with Anaya Smith, right?
Yeah,
they're doing this with design, and so I'm curious to see if they cut Jack Stoll, who has a defined role as their blocking tight end, but they might say, all right, they like Albert O's upside a little bit more.
I think they'd be more likely to cut like Nick Gates or something like that.
Yeah, but I actually think Nick Gates is going to be. I don't think they're going to carry 4 tight ends. Do you think they'll carry 4 tight ends? I think they're more apt to cut Nick Gates for a different spot
Smith
on the roster. Would that be something?
Cut Nick Gates and put him in the practice squad. Keep his versatility there.
Yeah, like I don't know why they would have promoted. They promoted Stoll to the active roster before they had to, didn't they?
Yes.
Right.
Yes. And because they knew they needed a 3rd tight end. Right, and so they didn't want to keep doing that, but yeah, they were premature on that. And it's a good point. I mean, they did carry 4 tight ends in the past, so they haven't been.
And they need to have a blocker. Like they can't. I mean, I guess they could just promote him again, but then you run out of those. Like, I would be pretty surprised if they.
So you think they go 4 tight ends? Yes, you think they go 4 tight ends?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know why.
I mean, the other thing we need to consider too is because Nick Gates is the guy we expect them to cut at some point here, but they're going to have, if they make a trade for an edge rusher, a linebacker, a DB. Britton Covey's going to be back soon, and so Britton Covey's going to need a roster spot.
Then that would be 6 receivers and 4 tight ends. I feel
so
like
that's what I'm saying. So that's why, So I'm curious to see what they do.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's talk about the Jaguars defense, which is heinous. 32nd in the league in EPA per drive, 32nd in DVOA, 32nd in EPA per dropback, but 14th in EPA per rush against. And they also have the lowest blitz rate in the league.
Like, and not even the lowest, like by far the lowest.
And I am not like, we got to get after the quarterback. Let's blitz. Like blitz is the answer to everything. But if you're the worst defense in football, and you're the lowest blitzing team by far. Like, what a miserable experience for Jaguars fans to watch. And like, that is as awful as it gets. You're just sitting back and letting people give it to you.
And 29th in stunt rate, too. Like, it's just like they do so little.
And everybody was talking about, Ryan Nielsen. They got Ryan Nielsen here. Ooh, baby.
Is that what they were like?
Yeah. The Jags got Ryan Nielsen. They're going to be spicy on defense.
I do just want to say before, because
I love what he did in Atlanta.
Before Fran gives the breakdown here, Jalen Hurts yesterday. Jalen Hurts had, I thought, one of his better press conferences since he's been the quarterback. He was into it. He was rolling. He gave some good answers. And he said at the end, you guys didn't ask him about the Jaguars defense, which he typically does, but usually he gives like the. I
mean, that's a good tactic for the media, actually.
Exactly,
never ask because you get a free extra question.
Sure. And we got 2 extra questions yesterday, and so typically he's like, these guys are fast, fly around, but he actually gave a little more than he typically does. Yesterday, he said really good edge rushers. And if you guys, I hope everyone's reading Fran's opponent breakdown on allphly.com. And, if you just like going with the color coordinated part of it, Fran shows you who's the blue chip guys, who's the high level starters, and like the outliers on this defense are those 2 edge rushers. Travon Walker, who kind of has been getting, because he's not Aiden Hutchinson, he's kind of getting this almost draft bust label. Fran has a number in there. I'll let him talk about it, but he's been really productive. And then Josh Allen's one of the highest paid players in the NFL. Josh Hines-Allen, now I should respectfully say. They do have 2 really good edge rushers coming around the edges.
Now, Travon Walker did not. It took him more time. But he has been good lately.
I mean, Walker leads them this year with 6.5 sacks, so he's 7th in the NFL. But he's had 11.5 since week 15 of last year, which puts him 2nd in the NFL in that time frame. So I think when you look at that overall skill set, honestly, the guy that he's probably behind would be Hutchinson. Would be my guess. Just looking at those numbers. But I think when you look at Walker and you look at Hines-Allen. Those are the 2 impact players. Tyson Campbell's a really good corner. I would put him basically on that tier right now too.
Called that one.
Yeah, but everybody else, it's rough sledding right now defensively.
Can we get a shot of Zach?
The peacocking?
As if, like,
hey, if you go back to our 2022 show or 2021 shows rather, I was all over Tyson Campbell. And I actually think
You have this like smirky smile about it, as if everybody in the world is aware of the fact that you like
No, they're
Tyson
not.
Campbell a little bit more than everybody else.
if they were aware of it, I wouldn't have had to bring it up. But I think it's worth bringing it up because I think we were on opposite ends of the spectrum on the Tyson Campbell evaluation.
Oh, so
I
not
don't
only were
remember
you
that.
up
Yeah.
on him, but Bo was down on him.
Yeah, I was on an island on my own against Bo and Shield.
I mean, do we have to play this for every single person in the NFL? Should we keep score?
Well,
I think
literally,
so.
We
that's
actually
I think so.
have a leaderboard, because I'm pretty sure I would do better.
wow. That's why we do these shows before the draft to put on the record guys
Yeah.
that we like, guys that we don't. Look, I've been wrong on plenty of players. Tyson Campbell is not one of them. But please proceed.
Yeah, I mean, they're way down in terms of like blitz percentage. They don't stunt a lot, which is surprising because that, to me, like one of the things that you love about where Ryan Nielsen comes from, which is the Dennis Allen tree, right? So this is a New Orleans kind of vibe in terms of the way that they play defense. It's a lot of man coverage. It's a lot of light boxes with like heavy bodies up front. So they love like those big, powerful, athletic defensive ends. A lot of guys, the defensive tackles are like leaner type of defense, like combo players. And so basically we're just throwing 4 or 5 guys, especially on third down. But again, the Saints, when you get to third down, it's a very defined identity of there's going to be a lot of stunting and man coverage. We're going to bring the linebackers up and they're going to blitz. Sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. With the Jaguars, they'll bring those guys up and then drop everybody out almost every single time. And so it's a ton of man, but they don't really have the horses on the back end to be able to compete in man coverage. That's the thing about the Saints is that they are consistently throwing high value assets, high draft picks at the cornerback spot year after year, first round pick, second round pick, third round pick, second round pick. With the Jaguars, they're just not. They don't have that type of talent at that position, and so they have just gotten beaten up in man-to-man coverage. The pass game has just not been very good against this team. And Zach mentioned the color coordinating of or the color coding of my opponent notes. So I do it from a personnel standpoint. Yeah, like all right, this is a blue chip player, whatever. But then when you go down to the numbers, it's blue if you're in the top 8 in a certain metric, and it's red if you're in the bottom 8. This thing is all red. It is. It's rough when you look at this Jags defense from a metric standpoint.
I mean, I got to defend myself.
You're going back. Okay, here we go.
There's no article from The Athletic that has us both on the record on Tyson Campbell because he wasn't one of the options.
Do you want to go down this road here?
Yes.
I want him to be one of the options. You didn't want him. You're like, I got overruled on him even being an option there.
We both mentioned him in the Eric Stokes.
You guys were pushing like Eric Stokes, and Eric Stokes was drafted higher than him.
And I have my big board here. He was my 4th rated corner. I had a 2nd round grade. He was my 4th rated corner. And he was ahead of Asante Samuel Jr., ahead of Caleb Farley, ahead of Eric Stokes, ahead of Ifeatu Melifonwu.
Okay. All right.
Surtain 1, Horn 2, Newsome 3, which not as good of a call, but I mean,
Newsome's a good player. Better than Horn.
I'm sorry.
I just recall you and Shield getting on me for like being real into height, weight, speed, and not necessarily
I don't remember this
game
at all.
film. Yeah. Well, look, this is all recorded, so this is somewhere in the archives. This is all recorded.
So is my actual rankings.
Okay, that's fair.
All right. So, if you're a Jaguars fan, do they have any hope of stopping the Eagles' offense?
Yeah, I mean, if the big thing, if you're the Eagles, like how do you prevent that from happening? It's you have to protect against those 2 edge rushers. I would say don't go into this saying, all right, hey, Fred Johnson did a great job against Trey Hendrickson last week, a guy that he was familiar with and had some insider knowledge of. He can't just come into this game and say, all right, we're going to leave him one-on-one with Josh Hines-Allen every single play.
Do you think if you're putting the game plan together from the Eagles' standpoint, you could be tempted to be like, well, I mean, they can't defend the pass.
Yep.
We can sort of go back to the way we started the season. We can be a little bit more drop back heavy early on. Maybe we don't have to do quite as much play action and stuff because we're just going to beat this team. Or do you just stick with what's been working because they can't stop that either? And then at some point this game's going to break open.
I would stick with what's been working. Yeah. And it's funny because we talk about how the only area where when you look at the Jaguars defense where the numbers have been solid, and that's been against the run defense. Last week, Green Bay just butchered them on the ground. I mean, the offensive line for Green Bay was moving those guys at will. Josh Jacobs had a huge day. Emmanuel Wilson's making plays with the ball in his hands. Obviously, Malik Willis had something to do with that as well, as there were kind of morphing game plans there from first half to second half. But when you're looking at that Jaguars defense, and I'm just watching them on film, the Eagles should be able to move a bunch of those guys in the interior. Jeremiah Ledbetter got moved a bunch. Tyler Lacey got moved a bunch. And so when you look at those defensive tackles for Jacksonville, I think there's going to be opportunities there for the Eagles with those double teams to be able to create movement, create space for Saquon Barkley, for Kenny Gainwell, potentially for Will Shipley. So I think when you look at that, to me, I would say there might be a situation where Jalen Hurts might look at this and say, oh, look, this is a great bombs away game, right?
Yeah.
The big plays are there. Don't force it.
in.
They'll be there. Just trust it, in my opinion. I think this is a game where you almost want to kind of like pull the reins back a little bit and say that those plays will be there for us. We don't need to force the issue.
I think that's a good point. Go ahead.
I have nothing to add there. I don't know.
Okay. More to come just after this. Got a leaky pipe? Well, at Ace Hardware. Listen, that's what the copy says. Don't get on me. Ace Hardware Home Services. We're around the block with everything you need to fix it, including the person to do the fixing, and not just someone who is like trying to cosplay as a blue collar guy, even though they came up from a very ritzy background. We've got the real people at Ace Hardware Home Services. If you got a faucet that you said you'd fix last fall, well, they got a person to fix that too, because now Ace is not just the helpful hardware folks, but they're also the helpful home service and repair folks. From plumbing to heating and cooling, they've got trusted pros to keep your home humming all year long. Here's how Arthur Smith hums. Ace Hardware Home Services. We're bringing helpful home, the helpful you love, from the store now to your front door. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at www.acehardwarehomeservices.com to get you started on your next project.
Listen up. It's 2:42 right now on October 31st. I want to tell you that because the spooky season sale with CGM Construction is ending very soon. It's ending tonight. This is the last day, October 31st, to get their CoreLogic luxury vinyl plank flooring. All right. So make sure once you finish the show, if you want to get if you want to take advantage of the spooky season sale, you do it with CGM Construction. If you're wondering what is CGM Construction, well, you should be watching our show on a regular basis. And I'll tell you, it's a family-owned home remodeler specializing in decks, bathrooms, and flooring. Their goal is to help their clients alleviate the challenges and frustrations that come with home remodeling. I mentioned the spooky season sale. Prices are starting at $249 per square foot. That's $2.49, not $249. $2.49 per square foot, with savings up to 35% off retail. Taxes and fees are extra. CoreLogic flooring is 100% waterproof, formaldehyde free, and features an elegant natural wood look and feel. It's durable flooring with less than a 20 mil wear layer and an overall plank thickness of 5 millimeters. Be sure to mention PHLY when you call in 856-329-2933 about your next home project. See their full selection of luxury vinyl plank flooring and learn more about the products and warranties on their website, cjamconstruction.com/flooring.
Couple super chats. First from our boy CDP, Chase Daniel Plainview. He says, Zach, do you think that hanging with the centrist Barack Obama will give Jalen help with targeting the middle?
I don't think there will be much correlation between the way Jalen plays quarterback and that, but I think that from a leadership perspective, perhaps there can benefits there. Although Jalen, interestingly, I said, are there questions you want to ask? Are there things you want to know? And he said that he wants to keep that intimate. He said, but there's no wasted time. They're not talking aimlessly. He says they have an effect on him, and he hopes that he has an effect on them as well. So he's hoping that, like, President Obama got in the car and was like, man, I really learned from Jalen Hurts yesterday or today.
Do you think there's a correlation between the golf outing and his best press conference being yesterday?
You know what? Maybe some. Look, it was. First off, he did this like very Jalen thing to me. Okay. When I said, "How was the experience yesterday?" And you know what he says to me?
What
happened yesterday?
Yeah, right.
And then I had to be careful. Like first, I was saying your golf round with President Obama, but then I altered it because he could say, well, I didn't golf, right? So I was like, spending time with President Obama at the golf course. And then he's like, oh, yeah. And then he gave like a well thought out answer. But first he acted like he didn't know. No, it was great. And when I say, by the way, it was a good press conference, it was really, a lot of it was about football stuff. And he spoke a lot about how the offense has evolved and how he said, he was asked at one point, are they tailoring it more to your skill set now? And he's like, well, everything's my skill set, right? But he says that people need to understand this is a different offense than it's been in the past. He said he was never under center in college. In 2021, he had success under center, he said. Then 2022, he said it was a different offense. 2023, he's like, last year was fine. They just turned the ball over a lot. And then he spoke a lot about, he gave this anecdote about Grant Calcaterra, where he said he was on the field when Calcaterra's career almost ended or did end. And then Calcaterra came back. So he's like, that's what you need to talk about with Calcaterra, what he's overcome. He spoke about Jahan Dotson, that he had never known, or he had never seen Jahan Dotson make that toe tap catch before the Cleveland game. And like that resonated with him. So I even asked him at the end,
wait, does Jalen have to see a guy catch a ball before he's willing to throw him the ball? Is that why? That would actually explain a lot.
Sure, he has to throw those toe taps, and then maybe so. Yeah, I asked him.
It's a very difficult thing to overcome. You can't.
True.
It's like you got to get your foot in the door. But how do you get your foot in the door?
Exactly.
It's like, well, if you're only going to throw them the ball, when you've seen them catch the ball, you're never going to throw them the ball.
It's like the talk of hiring an experienced coach. Well. Every coach needs an opportunity, right? But I even asked him, I'm speaking about experience, about the impatience with quarterbacks around the league. And he made sure to mention that no one thought he'd be the player that he is now, that sometimes it takes time. But then he also said you need to take advantage of the opportunities that you have. He learned that from Tom Brady. And he said the guys drafted earlier tend to get a little more of a leash, but he wants them to know.
Used to.
He wants them to know that your adversity can really callous you and spring you forward for what's next.
Okay. What did you make of the thing that Baldy said about the players?
Yeah, I was speaking about that with Jamie and Rich yesterday. Look, I mean,
if you hadn't seen it, Baldy on Twitter alluded to like players advocating for the offense to be less stale.
Was it less stale or to have more?
To
change it up. Look, I mean. You heard Jalen Hurts reference the productive conversations that they had during the bye week. Excuse me. I can say from being around Lane Johnson for 12 years now, he always says, like, when things aren't good, run the ball, right? Like, let the offensive line impose the will. And when you speak about imposing, Jalen Hurts said that the Eagles need to be the imposer. Like that needs to be the way they play. But regarding Baldy, we've seen this in the past. Baldy's money with these things, right? He's not typically saying things unless he's hearing it from somewhere. So I imagine that there's some intel with that explanation.
All right, we have another super chat from Jalen All Day Sicko Made, who says, Coach Smith, Coach Smith, Coach Smith, Coach Smith.
What do you think of that Steelers offense this year?
It's fine.
Russ Wilson looks like he's back.
Yeah, I'm sure you're pounding your chest over that.
Wow.
The most excited you've been all show was talking about your former defensive coordinator, Art.
It's true.
Ryan Nielsen.
Yeah, so it was about 10:30. I'm like, oh well, I mean, I got to dress up as something for the show today. I mean, it's Halloween. I can't not do anything. So, all right, okay. What do I have? What tools do I have at my disposal? Well, I could shave something. That's interesting. Okay, I can do. I guess I could do Arthur Smith. So I do this. So I take a shower. I shave. So I have a mustache. I go to look for like whatever. Found this nice this Wake Forest football shirt. That's a nice gold. You got the black cover up. All I got to do is go find myself a Steelers hat. Right? It's like 11:30 at this point. Got plenty of time before the show. Where would you go to get a Steelers hat?
I would go to a sports store.
Okay.
I would probably get it online ahead of time, but day of, yeah.
Well, yeah. Okay. So I tried. I thought maybe Target would have one.
No.
Nothing.
Nope.
Okay. Go across Columbus Boulevard. Go to Walmart. Check out Walmart.
No.
They had like cowboy stuff, but they didn't have any Steelers stuff. And so now it's like 12:30, like it's getting close.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, at this point, I got to go to Dick's. I got to go across the bridge, go to Dick's, and make it back in time. Go to Cherry Hill, get to Dick's. Nothing at Dick's. I'm like, you don't have anything? Like, just give me, He's like, oh no, we're local. We got nothing else.
You did all this with this mustache, which is the most impressive.
Well, yeah, that's the other.
Is there a rally house nearby or anything?
No, but then the last thing I think of is lids. So and there's a lids at the Cherry Hill Mall. So now I'm booking it. Like I gotta get there. I gotta get back for the show. Go to lids. They had it. Thank you to lids. Sticker on. Hopefully I can return it after the fact. Tag on. There's Julia's got the side by side here. But I also needed one other thing. I don't know if you've noticed the attention to detail here. I wanted some kind of FedEx paraphernalia.
Sure.
Give me a box, give me a sleeve. No FedEx around, but there's like all the FedEx drop points. So I go to the Walgreens that has a FedEx drop point. I'm like, do you have a sleeve or anything? She's like, oh no, it's just a drop off. I'm like, I need something. Do you have anything that has FedEx on it that I can have? She's like, shh, don't tell anybody. And she gives me this sticker.
Ah.
This sticker here. This FedEx sticker.
Which is now permanently a part of our show.
So there you go. And that's the story. And I made it here with a half an hour to spare.
Yeah, I was wondering where you guys were.
I told you I was going to be here at noon.
Yeah, exactly.
That was my original plan.
Yeah, I was like, I was in early. I thought we were going to talk about some planning stuff, and then it was like 1:30, and I'm like, I want to go in the Joy. I'm like, are we StreamYard today? Am I missing something? But no, is this what you're wearing tonight for trick or treating?
No. At one point, I saw a FedEx delivery truck, and I thought about just asking the guy if I could buy a hat off of him or something like that. But that would have been good.
What is the trick or treat plan?
Jane is a giraffe for the third year in a row. Same costume.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Outstanding.
Loves a giraffe. And then my son was a wolf today. We're using that one because it's a little bit more comfortable for school. And then tonight he has a homemade Pokemon costume that is a made-up Pokemon.
Oh, very nice. And are you wearing a costume for trick or treating?
I don't know. I mean, I might try to figure out how to get the mustache to play.
Gotcha.
Somehow, but
Could
that was
like
the other
Mario.
thing. This woman, this poor woman. I'm like, it's for a Halloween costume. Can I have a FedEx sticker? And I got this creepy mustache. Like,
I don't think it's as
for a
creepy as
woman.
you think. I don't think it's as creepy as you think. It's like Aaron Rodgers-esque.
You gotta embrace the darkness. CV, what are you guys doing for trick or treating?
I'm taking my kids out. I'm looking forward to it.
The next head of Health and Human Services, Aaron Rodgers.
I hope not.
Let's hope not.
Yeah.
Right.
So Reed is a baseball player. He was Bryce Harper today. He loves the City Connect jerseys, so he's wearing that. And then Sloan, and thanks to Julia, I actually know what this is. Addison from the Zombie Show. She's like a cheerleader from the Zombie Show, and they're doing that. And then I will walk them around trick or treating.
Nice.
Looking forward to that. They have to make sure they say thank you and please. And then I don't like going up to the doors with them. I want them because I want them to learn how to do it. So I will not be dressed up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you like against dressing up?
I'm not. It's not that I'm against. I just don't. I think you get to a certain age, you don't need to dress up anymore, right?
When's the last time you
but you're
dressed
not
up
doing
for
it for
anything?
yourself.
When was the last time I dressed up? Was
anything.
probably back when I was in like middle school with Julia.
Even a party? Like you haven't gone to a Halloween party?
No, I used to do when I was in college.
Yeah. You know exactly what he did.
I used to do the hoodie and roll up the sleeves and say I'm Bill Belichick, right?
You couldn't even cut the sleeves actually off and actually
Well, why am
commit
I
to the
ruining a
bit.
sweatshirt, right?
hoodie.
I mean, it's not like I had like 10 hoodies in college, right? You have a week's worth of clothes. You're not going to cut a hoodie. A week's worth of
Just
clothes.
saying,
You do your
commit
laundry
for once.
You do your laundry every week, yeah.
Okay.
What about you?
Francis loves Halloween, and he picks out the Halloween costumes like months in advance.
Nice.
So we are. It's a big Pokemon theme. So he's Squirtle, I'm Charizard, and Meg is the trainer.
very
and
nice.
like Ash, yeah. So all three of us dressed up, walking around. So
Very nice.
it'll be good. It'll be
Emily
fun.
said today.
Zach thinks it's pretty
No.
It's pretty juvenile of you to dress up for,
No, I
for
don't think
Halloween
it's
with your
whatsoever.
son.
I have nothing against dressing. I'm dressing up as a podcaster today, right? But Emily said, "Is this something that happens?" She's like, "We'll let the kids eat candy through the weekend, and then we'll donate the rest." And I was like, part of the joy of trick or treating is having that candy for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, for however long it lasts, right? And she's like, no, this way they can learn to donate it. They enjoy it while it's there.
That's a nice sentiment.
But
I also don't disagree that part of the fun is having it.
But I didn't know if this was a thing. Like if
Not in our house.
Yeah.
By the way, speaking of candy, I watched the clip that Chris put together for everybody's favorite candy in the office. Your favorite candy is plain M&Ms?
Well, I don't eat candy, Bo. Also, I have an objection with yours. You're like, so you said my favorite candy is X, but then if I'm stealing the Halloween candy for my kids, it's Y. Why are you stealing their Halloween candy?
Oh no!
Are you kidding me?
No.
Dad. Francis knows he has a dad tax. He's getting taken out. He's taken out.
Are you
trick-or-treating.
kidding me?
He's absolutely.
That's
contributing.
absolutely like part of the lastingness of Halloween.
That's their candy.
Oh, no way.
You didn't earn it. Like
You're right. I didn't earn it. I earned it by bringing them around. Like,
I mean,
they're not going to eat. There's way too much candy. It's the same as donating it. They're donating it to me.
Yeah. No, but I'm not a candy guy.
That's the thing. That's the nice thing about Halloween is I'm never going to get myself a Take 5 bar, but a little bite.
Yeah, I'm not a
happy. Yeah,
I'm not a candy person, but I like desserts. Like Emily made Halloween
plain
cookies.
M&Ms.
Well, if there's any like because plain M&Ms you can just eat when you walk. Like it's a quick thing,
Is there a creme brulee house that you guys stop at? That's something in the neighborhood.
That's the deal.
No,
you can eat when you walk.
I'm just saying plain M&Ms they're not messy. It's like have you ever opened up a chocolate bar and it gets all over you and then you got the chocolate all over your hands and some. Come on, I'm 38 years old. Like you can't.
Well, you're 38 years old and you're walking around just popping plain M&Ms into your mouth?
No, you can mix it in with popcorn. You can put it in like brownie batter. You can put it. There's a lot of different.
Well,
things.
as a mix-in.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you find this crazy?
I'm not a candy guy.
There's so much going on right now.
I'm not a candy guy. What can I say? I like. Emily's got these Halloween cookies that they were out. I stole a few of the kids' Halloween cookies last night. I probably shouldn't have, but.
Well, you didn't earn those.
Those were your cookies.
But neither did they. I mean, they didn't walk around getting these. And we made them. It's in a cookie jar at the house, and so, yeah, I had to make sure they were okay for the kids to eat, and they were.
Zach stole the cookie from the cookie jar.
Usually, if someone stole the cookie from the cookie jar, it is me.
What about you? What are you hoping to steal from Francis?
Oh, a little bit of everything. He knows that.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's a little bit of just one of like the different kinds that I haven't had since however long.
Yeah, right. I mean, there's
just a little taste of memory.
You got milk duds there? Yeah, hand a couple of those over. Yeah, right. You open up that box. Yeah, a couple over here. So it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
I brought some Canadian candy today. It's over there in the on the desk.
That's nice of you.
Yes.
I hear Canadian chocolate is like higher quality than.
Is that my uncle brought it in, and I wanted to make sure that the office got to enjoy it. It actually says like made exclusively in Canada.
Yeah, it's like there's like something about it has to be a certain percentage of actual chocolate in Canada as opposed to America because our standards are very low.
Are you guys giving that out?
No, no, I'm just giving it to the office.
Got it.
That's nice of you.
We're giving out M&Ms. So
giving out what?
We're giving out M&Ms. No, I actually don't know what we're giving out. Emily went to Target and got it. So
okay. Yeah. All right, you guys ready for Swooper?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to Swooper Soarcasting. Fran.
Yeah.
You took a nice big lead. Last week, you hit 4 of your 5 selections. You hit Jalen Hurts runs for 30 yards. The Eagles either recover a fumble on defense or score on one of their first 2 drives on offense. The broadcast shows video pictures from the 2019 season involving Jalen Hurts and Joe Burrow, and the Eagles win the game. You didn't hit. Quinyon Mitchell gets at least 2 ball disruptions. But unfortunately, you should be going to jail for the insider trading, and it's very much on our radar. Zach, you looked good ahead of time, but Unfortunately, it didn't fall for you. The Eagles did not score in the first quarter. An Eagles wide receiver has more receiving yards than the number of minutes before game time. Zach tweets his photo from the press box. Paid 11 turkeys for it. Didn't happen. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith combined for more receiving yards than Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Did happen. Jalen Hurts scrambles for a first down against drop-eight coverage, and Sidney Brown tackles Chase Brown. Didn't happen. I had the game ends in a tie, and I win exactly as many items as Jahan Dotson has catches in the game. Didn't work. Okay, Fran, you are up. 3 1/3 is your total on the season. I'm at 1 5/6, 1.83, and Zach is at 5/6, 0.83. So a nice commanding lead for Fran. As for what's really important, the amount of turkeys we have today, as Fran leads off. Fran is missing 1 turkey, so he starts with 27. I'm sorry, 23.
23, okay.
Rather. You almost got another cheapie. Zach, you had 4 turkeys in hand, so you will start with 28 turkeys today. And I have 8 turkeys in hand.
Ooh.
And don't forget,
Oh, here we go.
C.J. Gardner-Johnson, responsible for the first turnover since we did that draft. I get 1 extra turkey. That's 9 turkeys, 33 turkeys for me. Fran, you start today, then Zach, then me, and then the Dana's submission, and on we go for 3 rounds.
A lesser man would have pushed back on the extra turkey since I was not physically on the show to agree to
You
the
agreed
terms
to
of
it in the chat. Get out of here.
Yeah, it was actually referring to something else in the chat, but we'll let it slide. 1 turkey, that's fine.
Okay.
Who's up first?
You get to start.
I'm up first.
Yes.
All right. My first bid. Here we go. So Jalen Hurts completes a pass that gains at least 25 yards off of play action in this game. I will supply the context here. Jalen, as Bo astutely pointed out on Monday's show, has the highest EPA per dropback off of play action. The Eagles were excellent off play action this past week against the Cincinnati Bengals. The Jacksonville Jaguars have allowed the 4th highest completion percentage against play action and the 3rd highest passer rating against play action so far this season. We will start the bidding at 2.
And it's allowed to be play action out of the gun as well, not just under.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Any play action pass.
Okay.
As defined by True Media?
As defined by
When we
True
get
Media.
that lazy,
Sure.
you
As
know.
defined, that would count because that was a play action fake. Yep.
Okay.
So-
So 3.
Okay.
4.
5.
5 to Fran.
25 yards.
I mean, they do have Tyson Campbell at cornerback.
And the Syracuse alum, Andre Cisco.
Andre Cisco. Yep, I liked him as well.
5 to Fran going once.
6.
Oh, 6 to Zach.
Zach, can you name the song that Cisco sang is famous for singing?
No.
Oh, come on, Zach.
Really?
No.
That's more absurd than the candy thing.
Cisco. I mean, if you say it, I'll probably know it. What's the song?
If we sing it, we say the title of the song.
What's the title?
Thong Song.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh,
Yeah, I've
okay.
heard that before. Yeah. Okay.
6 to Zach going once.
A little blue chew for Zach.
6 to Zach going twice.
7.
Oh, 7 to Fran.
It's yours.
All right.
All right. 7 for Fran. 16 left. 25 plus on play action. All right. Over to you, Zach.
The Eagles scored in the first quarter. I'm going to keep pounding this. The context here is the Eagles haven't scored in the first quarter, and we are in week 9. I will start the bidding at 1.
2.
2 to Fran.
3.
3 to Zach.
5.
5 to Bo.
6.
6 to Zach. 6
7.
to 7 to Bo.
8.
8 to Zach. 8 to Zach going once. 8 to Zach going twice.
Sold.
Sold.
There you go.
Maybe the Jags win the toss, and that will help the Eagles' chances. Like last week, they scored on the opening drive, but not, of course, the first quarter.
There you go. All right. My first submission. As I pull it up here.
How is that a lazy item, Travis? Come on. That's yeah.
My first submission here. Okay. Jahan Dotson, Jack Stoll, and Johnny Wilson combined for more receiving yards than Kenny Gainwell has rushing yards. So obviously a good chance that Jahan Dotson, Jack Stoll, and Johnny Wilson all get shut out, as they have many times. But just takes one to pop to go for more than Kenny Gainwell rushing yards. I'm going to start the bidding at 2.
2 to Bo. 2 to Bo going once. 2 to Bo going twice.
It's yours.
It's yours.
All
You
All
have
right.
it.
I like that. All right. Daniz is first.
Oh, 1 sec.
The team with more total third down conversions, including by penalty, loses the game. The parentheses here is the Eagles have 7 third down conversions to their opponent's 13 over the last 2 games, both of which were dominant blowout wins. This is obviously a bit of a subtweet from Deniz in your direction, Zach.
Sure. Now, I just want to specify here. I believe the official third down statistics don't include third downs by penalties, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so we would need to retroactively add this. But the great thing is Professor Selman is awesome at this. Yeah, so yeah.
All right, I'll say 2.
2 to Bo. 2 to Bo going once.
3.
3 to Zach.
I mean, I feel like it's appropriate for you to get it, but
Because I believe converting third downs are good.
because you feel like it's the most important.
I've never said it's the most important thing. Yeah, no. But I do think third downs in red zone are important things to convert in. I don't think it's a
Can you
controversial.
flash that up one more time?
Yep.
Just want to reread one last aspect of it.
The team with more total third. It's not higher percentage.
Yeah.
It's the pure
more
number.
conversions.
Yes.
Loses
And
the game.
I understand you can get first downs on first and second down. So I do understand that.
Yep.
I also understand that when you don't convert third downs, now the Eagles go into third down knowing they can go for it on fourth. So, but they were good
But they
on
don't
third
tell
down.
Jalen that.
They don't tell Jalen that. They were good on third down last week, and they won the game.
All right. We're
And
at
it's got to
3
be
to Zach.
more. There's no tie here. I feel like it's probably worth 4. I'll say 4.
All right. 4 to Bo. 4 to Bo going once.
It's a good one. I just want to save my turkeys.
4 to Bo going twice.
Actually, no, I'll go 5.
Oh,
Ooh,
nice.
5 to Zach.
I like 50-50 ones. So
5 to Zach going once. Going twice.
He's got it. There's
Sold.
no
Yeah,
way.
I'm not jumping on that one.
All right, Fran, you're
Back to me. Let's go to obviously it's Halloween, so let's give a head nod to the man that was nicknamed Ghost on the Eagles and the Eagles secondary.
any other nicknames for him?
Yeah, if you want to read some more nicknames, make sure you check allphly.com for the latest Wolf's Den. Some may call this not a poo-poo platter, but a boo-boo platter. Reed
You
Blankenship
sold that one.
is credited with a TFL, a sack, an interception, a forced fumble, or a fumble recovery in this game. By the way, happy Halloween to all the sickos out there. So we got a poo-poo platter on Reed Blankenship in this game. We know that Reed has been he's been known to create a turnover in his day or two. Let's go with starting bid of 2.
3.
3 to Bo.
4.
4 to Fran.
5.
5 to Bo. 5 to Bo going once.
Zach doesn't want to get into single digits.
5 to Bo going
You can have
twice.
5.
Sold.
Bo's got a lot of turkeys.
Reed Boo Boo.
Yep.
All right. Zach, you're next one.
There are more points in the Eagles-Jaguars game than the Penn State-Ohio State game. And interestingly, the over-under for both of these games is 45.5. So I found that to be kind of a cool nugget here is both have the same over/under. So, yeah, I'll be glued into that Penn State-Ohio State game while I'm not doing other stuff. And it's going to be an awesome game. Who do you think is going to win that, by the way, as the college football expert here?
Well, how would you get ready for that Penn State game if you needed to?
Well, I mean, you could check out the All Nittany Lion podcast. This week, I had the pleasure of joining Adam Talafaro and Jason Kabinda. It was an awesome discussion. It was on that was on Tuesday. It was a lot of fun. It was actually a really cool exercise because I'm usually locked in on watching college guys where it's like, all right, I'm watching this player,
right.
And so being able to watch Penn State from a like schematic standpoint and just big picture on who else stands out, like almost watching like how I studied like the Jacksonville Jaguars this week. It was a lot of fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. I enjoyed it.
Podcast was fun.
Yeah, Adam and Jason were awesome. A lot of great insight. We got some. I selfishly asked them questions about guys like coming down the road from Penn State too, and we talked about like Abdul Carter and some of the top prospects. They've got a bunch of prospects on that team. So yeah,
What were your big takeaways from watching them like that?
I think first that offense is really fun. They do. I mean, look, they don't have a ton of receiver talent, Penn State, but you look at Tyler Warren. They got a couple backs there that I think are fun players. I think Drew Aller is going to be a good player. I hope he goes back for another year. But I think when you look at that group, it's a really fun offense to watch, considering they don't have like that blue chip receiver. They just do like all kinds of like funky motions and shifts and all the different personnel groupings. It was a fun watch.
Who wins?
I think Ohio State probably wins. I do think there's a path to Penn State winning the game, and it's probably through Abdul Carter in the line of scrimmage. It's tough though. I mean, with Aller potentially being banged up, it sounds like they're going to play both quarterbacks in the game. I feel like Ohio State probably wins though.
I will start the bidding here at 2.
2 to Zach.
And this is the Eagles one is more.
Yeah, there's more in
points
the Eagles Jaguars.
I'll say 3.
3 to Bo.
Chip Kelly, the offensive coordinator. Ohio State.
3 to Bo going once.
I'll go 4.
4 to Zach.
I'll say 5.
5 to Bo.
I certainly think that the Ohio State one's going to have more, but
yeah,
it's a 50-50 one, so those are good.
Yeah, this is an actual 50-50 one.
5 to Bo going once. Going twice.
It's a good one though, Zach.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts said that he hopes it's not raining in this game because, of course, when they played the Jags last time, it was in the rain.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's supposed to be.
Trevor Lawrence couldn't handle it though.
No,
it's supposed to be 60 degrees and sunny out. So
we haven't had rain in like a month.
All right, yeah, Mr. Gardner over here. He knows. You have like a day since the last rain thing going on.
No.
Okay.
The garden shut down, thankfully, for the year.
What do you do to keep them like ready for the spring?
We do composting and stuff like that, just to make sure that I've got enough good soil ready. But yeah, nothing too crazy.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right. My submission here: the Eagles make a trade before the deadline. So the Swooper will carry over until 4 p.m. on Tuesday. I will start the bidding at 3.
Wow.
3 to Bo.
Man.
how many do I have left?
15.
15.
Fran has 16. I have 21.
Yeah, I mean, Howie's always on the phone. Four.
4 to
fun
Zach.
one. Gives
Yeah,
us,
it's a fun one to root for during that 2-hour show that we're going to have on Tuesday.
are we definitely going 2 hours?
I think so.
Why? Because we're going till the deadline?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
4 to Zach going once. 4 to Zach going twice.
You can have it for me.
Yeah, I'll go 5.
5.
Wow,
Wow.
look at that. Okay. Scared money don't make money. I respect it. All
Do you
yours.
though?
It's like the opposite the way you play.
Hey, you got to get in the game, though. Yeah. You can have it.
There you go.
I hope you're right, though. I hope you hit this one.
Thank you. That's nice of you. All right, Dana's is up.
We're all very even
Yes.
right now, by
16 for me and Fran, 15 for Zach. Doug Pederson chooses not to go for it on 4th down at least one time that the Ben Baldwin 4th down bot says to go for it.
Ooh. He wrote a book called Fearless.
He did.
He also punted in a tie game
He did.
from midfield, or a little in front of midfield.
In overtime.
In overtime, yes.
I'll say 2.
2 to Bo.
3.
3 to Fran.
4.
Oh, 4 to Bo.
It was punt, or is he just not go for it? Doesn't go for it.
Four to Bo, going once. Going twice.
Go for it. You got it. You got it.
Sold to Bo.
Bo's getting a lot of items
I
today.
know.
I think I feel good about that one, actually, because it's not a strong recommendation. It's just barely recommends to go for it. All right, Fran, your last one.
Sorry, just writing that one in. Okay. So Doug Pederson, obviously back in town, the winner of the winning coach for Super Bowl 52. So with that in mind, there is an offensive play from either team in this game that gains at least 52 yards in the game.
At least 52 yards.
At least,
not
so
exactly.
It's 52 plus.
Okay.
52 is the floor.
That's pretty good. Jags have a big play offense.
Jags have a big play offense. Eagles obviously have a big play offense as well. It could be run or throw, but it's an offensive play. We will start the bidding at 2.
3.
3 to Bo.
4.
4 to Fran. 4 to Fran, going once.
I'm not going
Going
further.
twice.
I'm out.
Sold.
All right. The Eagles score more points than they did in the 2022 win over Jacksonville. So that means they score at least 30 points. They scored more than 29. The Eagles scored 29 that day against Jacksonville. I believe the score was 29-22, if memory serves correct.
The Eagles score 30 points.
And I will start the bidding at 2.
2 to Zach.
4.
4 to Bo.
They've only scored at least 30 points twice this season, Cincinnati and Green Bay. They could have done it against the Giants, but they pulled the horses early.
You're at 4?
I'll go 5.
Yeah, 6.
5 to Zach. Oh, 6 to Fran.
7.
Against this Ryan Nielsen
7 to
defense.
Zach.
Give me 8.
Whoa.
Ooh, 8 to Fran.
The Jags are allowing 28 points per game this season, tied for 29th in the NFL. The Bears went over 28 points against them. Let's go 9.
Ooh, 9 to Zach. 9 to Zach, going once.
Go ahead.
Ooh, sold to Zach.
12-12-6 in terms of turkeys left. Is that right?
Yeah, I think I gave one to the wrong person.
Oh,
12-12-6. Yes. You had the 52 yards.
Yes.
Okay. All right. 12-12-6.
12-12-6. Okay.
All right. My last one. At some point in this game, a point is scored with even zeros on the game clock. Now, this is not just the end of it. This could be 7 minutes left.
Yes.
4 minutes left. Or at the gun of halftime or regular fourth quarter. And I will start the bidding at 1.
All right. I have one question.
Yep.
All right. Is it so if you go to the play-by-play, the ball is snapped at 0-3. If a touchdown is scored with 4 seconds left, and it shows up in the play-by-play as like, oh, the ball was snapped at 7:03.
Mm-hmm. It's not when it's snapped.
It's not when it's snapped.
It's when the next play would be snapped.
So when the next play would be snapped. Okay.
Right. So yeah, what it shows when the point is scored.
Make sure we're clear.
Yeah, that's fair.
Not that it affects the probabilities or anything. I don't think.
1 going once.
2.
Two to Fran. Two to Fran going once.
Yeah, I wanted 3.
Three to Bo.
Fun to root for. Sure.
Field goal at the end of the half is what I'm hoping for.
Three to Bo.
I should have started with 2 though. That was a bad starting bid.
Go ahead. Take it.
All right.
Sold to Bo.
All right. So as we enter the final Deniz submission, Fran has 12. Zach has 6. I have 9. Make sure you hit the like button, you sickos.
All right, here are the rules.
Oh, no.
Reverse Dutch
no.
auction. Julia begins at 1 and slowly counts up 1 turkey at a time, 1, 2, 3, 4, until 2 of the players yell swooper out, meaning that they are out of the running for the item. The remaining player wins the item and pays the last number that Julia said. Players can borrow turkeys from next week. Do we understand? It's a little bit confusing.
Yeah, so if you want to get out of it, you can get out of it right away.
Yes.
Okay. It's going to be the Eagles win, though. So
Potentially.
Potentially.
Okay. All right. Everybody understands.
Yep.
All right. And the item? The Eagles win the game. Zach calls it. Nicely done. All right.
All right, ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
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 1 turkey. 2 turkeys. 3 turkeys. 4 turkeys. 5 turkeys. 6 turkeys.
Swooper out.
7 turkeys. 8 turkeys. 9 turkeys. 10 turkeys. 11 turkeys. 12 turkeys. 13 turkeys. 14 turkeys. 15 turkeys. 16 turkeys. 17 turkeys.
Super out.
I'll take that.
17
That was
turkeys.
just about my limit.
Yep.
All right.
I
so
do not like
17.
borrowing from the following week.
We're aware.
I don't like deficits. Yeah.
So I'm going to be down 8 turkeys next week. So I better win this week because I have all
Correct.
these items.
Yes.
Went for the W. All right. Fran, you have, at some point, Jalen Hurts throws for 25 yards on a play. It doesn't have to be Jalen Hurts, the Eagles.
Correct.
Right? It could be Pickett. The Eagles gained 25 yards on a play action pass. And at some point in the game,
Actually, no, I did put Jalen Hurts complete.
Oh, you put Jalen Hurts?
Yeah, I did put Jalen
Okay.
Hurts.
All right, so it's
it
gotta
does
be
need to
Jalen.
Hurts. Yep.
and then there's a play in the game of 52 yards or more. Zach, you have the Eagles score in the first quarter. The team that has more third downs converted loses the game, and the Eagles score 30. I have the Dotson, Stoll, Wilson trio combines for more receiving yards than Kenny Gainwell has rushing yards. The Reed Blankenship boo-boo platter, where he has either a interception, a fumble, a sack, a TFL, or a fumble recovered. The Eagles and Jags combine for more points than Ohio State, Penn State. The Eagles make a trade before the deadline. Doug Turtles at some point in this game. At any point, a point is scored with zeros on the clock, and the Eagles win the game. Man, if I don't win this week, I am screwed. And I've got -8 turkeys. Zach, you've got 6 to carry over. Fran, you've got 12 to carry over. A super chat from Benjamin Vanston, who says, can you please call Jimmy Kempski and make him tell the Doug Pederson Day story for everybody? That sounds like a nice off-season thing to do. It's a fun story.
Yes, he said it at the Super Bowl a few years ago. It was a good story.
There you go. All right. Anything else?
It's a good show.
Do you know?
You want to talk politics?
Yeah. Circle back to the beginning.
Well, listen. Jalen Hurts is a very private person, like to an incredible degree, right? I understand that. I think that is totally his prerogative. I think if you are a Jalen Hurts fan, it is okay to be disappointed given the things that we know he cares about, where he puts his money and his time, things like gun control, female empowerment, things that are important to him. Like, I think it's okay to be disappointed that he would be silent about the election, given the stakes of everything that's going on.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's unfair, because look, I'm not by any means, I'm not like shut up and dribble, right? But at the same time, I'm not like, speak up and dribble. I'm like, do what you're comfortable with. Steph Curry, Greg Popovich, they gave him passion, things to say, and that's wonderful. But like, that's not, it shouldn't be the requirement, right? And like, ultimately, what's most important is that everyone votes and has and everyone should vote. And I imagine Jalen Hurts and or I hope Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley are going to vote. I don't feel like they have an obligation, and frankly speaking, like you asked Nick last week if he addresses this with the team, given the divisive nature of the election. The reason the election can be divisive is because like ultimately what you're asking Jalen and Saquon to be divisive, right? And like if they choose, like Saquon said, I don't want to get into politics, right? Which is like that doesn't mean he doesn't believe in X or Y or Z. I mean, I think Jalen especially has demonstrated through his actions what he believes in.
Sure.
Right. And I think demonstrating through your actions is really powerful. And you can demonstrate through your actions with your voting as well. But I think that like the if they're choosing not to be divisive in this case, or like not to engage in that, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, I don't think they have to do it,
No,
but
absolutely
I think it's okay to be disappointed that they're not. I guess that's almost kind of like fall like in the middle of that. Like, I think it's fair. I think it's fair to be disappointed given the stakes.
Yeah, I think the general gap between the way that we think about this, Zach, is just the magnitude of the stakes. I think this is not a normal situation.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is. Some people might feel that it's incumbent upon them to speak out when the stakes are this high.
But I mean, and again, like I certainly hope that I certainly hope my position in this is not interpreted as like advocacy, and like
sure.
that's not. I'm simply saying like you're allowed to be passionate about something without like imposing it on other people. And in essence, what you want is someone to be outspoken if they agree with you. Like I imagine, well, like Nick Bosa's not a good example because he wore a hat, but then he didn't say anything thereafter. But I imagine that you didn't like Nick Bosa's actions, right?
Correct.
Yeah, but I'm saying,
because I mean, there's like it's like a right or wrong thing. That's
okay.
Right.
So what I'm saying is like, well, let's say there's. So my point is that if a player says like I don't want to talk, I don't want to make this political, which Saquon Barkley said,
that's totally his prerogative.
Yeah, and so I don't think that should be. So what I'm saying is I don't think that should be a disappointment, because I think I think voting is a highly personal thing, and as long as you vote, and that's what matters here. So
yep.
From my perspective, reasonable minds can disagree.
Okay, we don't have to. We don't have to make a whole thing.
Yeah,
no,
that's all. How do you feel about this game, Fran? Since we won't talk to you tomorrow.
The Eagles. No, I mean, this should be a pretty easy win. Like this should feel like how the Giants game felt from a like comfortability standpoint in the second half. Like that's how this game should feel. Obviously, look, Jacksonville is real. I mean, it's not even just like Christian Kirk got hurt, but their starting left guard got hurt. They've got injuries on defense. This should be a nice, relatively easy win for the Eagles.
Zach, how do you feel about Doug?
I mean, 2-6.
Is this going to be it? Like,
yeah,
it's
you
kind
can't
of a mean thing to do if you fire him after this game.
Well, I don't know about this game here, but yeah, if you're 2-7, it's hard to say. Look, I understand. Like all politics are local, right? Like we focused on the Eagles collapse last year, right? But the Jags had a really bad collapse last year that didn't get as much attention as the Eagles as the Eagles collapse. Doug kept his job, didn't fire his coordinator or his offensive coordinator, right? And ran it back. They spent money, and they're worse this year, 2-6. And yeah, I mean, I think Doug's a really good coach. There's a statue outside for a reason. He won a Super Bowl. but I can't see him surviving this season unless there's a dramatic turnaround. Although, yeah, that would be. If
You think that'll be it?
For Doug?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think he gets a third head coaching job. And I mean, is he going to go be an OC somewhere, a quarterback's coach somewhere? I think I've always thought I didn't see Doug as like a lifer in this business from the start.
I would almost see him more as a quarterback's coach than an OC.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Like he maybe just in the weeds of the position, but yeah, I don't know. That might not be worth his time either. One last super chat from me, Arthur Bo Wulf Smith. Wow, big get for the PHLY to have an opportunity to have a song OC on. Okay. I mean, I think we get the gist that he's excited they got me. And listen, Zach, that Steelers coaching staff, you called it. Doing a good job.
Yeah, they're winning. I do have a question though for both of you guys, because this was posed to me by somebody who knows these things. He said to me, he said, Zach, what'd you think
Jeffrey?
of that? No, not Jeffrey. I wish. He said, Zach, what'd you think of that George Pickens catch? And I was like, I thought it was a catch, and then I kind of heard like the whole background for it, but yeah, I mean, I'm curious. Did you think that was a catch in real time? Like when you hear 2 feet, do you think 2 different feet, or could it be the same foot?
I typically think 2 feet, but
I didn't see it live, but I did know the rule.
Yeah.
Okay.
That it's got to be the 2 different feet.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, like aesthetically, it feels like it should be a catch.
Yes.
But
Right.
yes. Okay.
I can't wait to know who would know. Like, who is the person that you can't reveal that? Who would know?
very
that?
funny. Roger.
No. It'd be wonderful if it was Roger too. I would love to talk to Roger. I have a lot of questions for Roger.
Yeah.
What would be your first question for Roger? What keeps you up at night?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's like so I saw in the media guide in Brett Toth's section.
Okay.
Brett Toth was like,
This is not a joke. That is fantastic. That is why you are the best. That is so good.
So Brett Toth said,
I don't think that there was anybody else at the press conference yesterday who went to the Jalen Hurts press conference being like, hey, Jalen, you said in a Time interview last year that you wanted to have dinner with Barack Obama. That is why you are the best.
That means a lot. Thank you. Brett Toth said that if he could be, it's something like if you could be anywhere, where would it be? And he said he would want to be at a presidential inauguration because he said, just imagine all the secrets you can find out there. Like, I guess he feels like he compared it actually to the National Treasure movie. He thinks there's like all these things
but
you'll
just
find
being
out.
at the inauguration is not where you're going to get those secrets.
I guess he thinks when you get elected, like you get, like you get
tell you
initiated. Where it's like, here you go.
The aliens.
Exactly. Yeah. So anyways, from like the NFL perspective,
Freemasons.
there's got to be like so many things that Rodgers swept under the rug over the years, the rug rather. So I would want to be privy to that.
Who do you think? When's the last time Roger Goodell dressed up for Halloween? Is it before or after?
It's going to be to have a 2-hour show.
Was it before or after your last costume?
Oh, after definitely. And by the way, I've probably worn. I just haven't like knowingly. I've thrown things together and like homemade type stuff, but I haven't like purchased a costume. Like my wife went trick or treating last year as like a cat, and I was like, why would you? I mean, I actually didn't say why would you, but I was like, put a lot of work into this.
Never said it to her face.
Yeah.
Still the show.
Yeah.
There's no way she's making it this deep.
Bo was right about that, actually. Unless she'll say like, Zach, what's keeping you up right now? Like, is there something that happened on the show? And then she'll watch it back and she's like, oh, I thought you were fine. You didn't say anything wrong there. But
I don't think there's anything from this show that should keep you up.
Yeah, but I haven't knowingly bought a costume ever since I was probably like trying to get invited to Halloween parties that Julia was at back in high school. So yeah.
Julia, what's your favorite costume you've ever done?
I don't know if you remember this, Zach, but I think it was 5th grade. But Michelle Buchert and I were a TV and a remote control.
I don't
and
remember
we made
that.
it out of like no. And I was the TV and I had a little
grade?
like
Okay.
I was like on top of the.
You were the TV.
I was the
that's
TV,
cool.
yeah. And then she was the remote control, and I think I actually had like some kind of sports game on in front of the TV.
Nice.
Can't remember. But that and Humpty Dumpty when I was really little.
Nice.
That's a good one.
Those are good ones.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite?
Arthur Smith.
I dressed up as
Pillsbury Doughboy was probably my favorite as a kid.
Well, that's a good one.
Woo!
Sounds like your dolphin.
No, that's much more sexual.
I was a keg once. It was a good one.
Ah, there
like
you
a
go.
working, like actually like.
Really?
You could fill up. It was a pretty good one.
I hope I'm more like cake.
Yes, of course.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Times change, but one thing that doesn't is the great
Same
taste
great
of
taste.
Fran Duffy. And that'll do it for this episode of the PHLY Eagles podcast. Thank you to everybody for watching and listening. We will talk to you tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Dane is in studio with Zach as well. And as always, we love you.
We all silly like the mayor.